Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy. Weather rates certified 11 years in a row.
We're starting in Utah County, where we've got active conditions today. Throughout the state, we've got winds blowing the water at Utah Lake, but Utah Valley actually under a wind advisory, so we know gusty conditions out there. We're watching those trees move, cloud cover, and the cold front tracking into central Utah as we speak, opening the door for cooler air to come flooding in. Already seeing it in northern Utah. Warnings are in effect. We've got fire concerns for a portion of Utah, and the temperatures, they're going to significantly dip. We've been above average throughout the week, but we're going to close it out in a very different way. There's that front. Satellite radar kind of shows you how it's on the move. Ahead of it, we get gusty westerly winds, which is what we're seeing, and behind it, just some isolated showers popping up. We saw them near Evanston and even towards Nephi. As we kind of zoom in and take a closer look, we do have a line of moisture there towards Tooele County, but we're watching towards Weber County, backside of the Wasatch, I-80, Evanston, and then over near Nephi heading into Castle Country. Now, not all of that's hitting the ground. Some of these are just high base showers and evaporating before it hits the ground. That's called virga, but we do have gusty winds. Even behind the front, the winds have just switched direction. Okay, where do we have the warnings? We've got wind advisories in Castle Country on the eastern side of the state. High wind warning for the Uinta Basin in southwestern Wyoming, where we're seeing gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and then Utah Valley, yes, that will start at 4 o'clock. So in Utah County, it's not very gusty right now. That is going to change. 4 to 11 p.m. that wind advisory will hold. Blowing dust in St. George, noticeable with the cloud cover that has moved in from our Dixie Tech camera, which really tells the story. An unsettled day down there in southern Utah. Those westerly winds, very noticeable, right? As you look at those current wind gusts, 33-mile-per-hour gusts in St. George, 43 in Torrey near Capitol Reef, but sustained winds between 10 and 20 miles per hour with gusts in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range. That really lends itself to fire danger. We've got that red flag warning posted and in effect on the eastern side of the state. That goes up to Castle Country in the San Rafael Swell, eastern Utah, Washington County, and the Grand Staircase area. Now, some of these will hold until 10 p.m. tonight. Others will linger into our Friday, and yes, that includes down there in St. George. Right now, 65 degrees. We hit 76, but the front came through, and now we're going to steadily decline in temperature as we make it into tonight. And tonight's going to be cold, unseasonably cold, where overnight lows will be dropping into the upper 30s and low 40s along the Wasatch Front. Now, we are looking at mid-20s in some locations with the hard freeze warning in effect for the Wasatch back, Bear River Valley, and down in the Sanpete Valley. So we know places like Park City, backside of the Wasatch, Liberty, Eden, if you planted, cover your sensitive vegetation. Also the case for Sanpete. Those temperatures really dipping tonight. They stay cold into tomorrow. We open that door for that cooler air to come in and encompass statewide. The winds hold on tomorrow in the south, but numbers will be way below average. Here's a look at how much so. 50s for daytime highs along the Wasatch Front. We're talking a 15 to 20-degree temperature drop as this front comes through. 30s and 40s for those overnight lows. 56 in Price, 59 in Cedar City, and dropping into the 70s down there in St. George. As we zoom in, pay attention to your overnight low, because we've got 20s in Park City and Heber. It's going to be cold, mid-30s in Tooele. I know many of us wait to plant until Mother's Day, but it's those sensitive plants that won't make it through this snap. 50s for tomorrow throughout central Utah. Overnight lows in the 30s, even in the south. Elevation plays a role here, but it will be close to freezing at Bryce Canyon. Overnight lows in St. George in the 50s, but it's going to be a noticeably cooler day. And we will warm things up fairly quickly. St. George 7-day brings the potential blowing dust tomorrow with the winds holding on, but we get back to the 80s. The winds will relax by Saturday afternoon, and the warming trend holds steady as we head into next week, getting into the upper 80s and then the 90s. Here's a look at the Wasatch Front, where those numbers take us to the 50s and then the mid-60s. Now, there's a slight chance we could hold on to that moisture. 70s as we close out the weekend and head into next week. That's pretty close to average, and it's going to be pretty temperature-wise because, well, that's just beautiful. Now, to stay on top of the weather changes, all you need to do is download that ABC4 weather app. It's easy. This QR code takes you right to the App Store, so snap a picture of it with your phone. That way you can download the app for free, and we can be there for you.